Think about the last time you scrolled through social media. Really think about it. The posts, the comments, the trending topics, the accounts that seem to perfectly understand your interests. Maybe a little too perfectly. Now let me ask you something strange. How many of those accounts were real? Not bots, not fake profiles. Real, breathing, conscious human beings, sitting somewhere in the world, choosing to type those words. Because here's the thing, there's a theory, and I want to be careful with that word because as we're going to see, theory might be underselling it, that says the internet you're using right now is largely, possibly mostly, not made by humans at all. It's called the dead internet theory. And by the time this video is over, I promise you will not look at a comment section, a trending post, or even a recommendation algorithm the same way again. Before we go any further, I need you to ask yourself one question. When you engage with content online, when you like something, share something, get angry about something, how do you know there's actually someone on the other end? Hold on to that question. We're going to come back to it. The dead internet theory didn't start on some obscure government document or academic paper. It started exactly where you'd expect something this paranoid and fascinating to start. A forum post. In early 2021, a user on the forum Agora Road's Macintosh Cafe, a nostalgic internet community, posted what many describe as the original manifesto of dead internet theory. The post was long, detailed, and deeply unsettling, and it went something like this. I've been browsing the internet for over 20 years. Something changed around 2016 or 2017. The internet feels empty. There are fewer genuine human interactions. Content is repetitive. Conversations feel scripted. Trends seem manufactured. I believe a significant portion of what we now experience online is generated by artificial intelligence and bots, deliberately seeded to control the population. Now, you might read that and think, okay, paranoid manifesto from an anonymous internet user. Dismiss, move on. But here's what happened next. The post went viral, not because people thought it was crazy, but because thousands of people read it and said, "Oh my God, I felt this too." That collective recognition isn't nothing. Mass shared experience is usually pointing at something real. So let's look at what that something might be. Here's a number. As of 2023, researchers estimated that between 40 and 50% of all internet traffic is non-human. Bots, scrapers, crawlers, automated systems. Nearly half the internet, by volume of activity, has no human being behind it. Now, a lot of that is harmless. Search engine crawlers, security scanners, routine automation. But a substantial, documented portion is not harmless at all. It's deliberate, it's sophisticated, and it has an agenda. Let's get something clear. I'm not here to sell you a conspiracy theory. I'm here to show you things that are not theories. Things that are confirmed, documented, public record, and then we'll talk about what those things imply. In 2011, the United States Air Force awarded a contract for something called persona management software. The purpose to allow a single operator to manage up to 10 fake online identities simultaneously, complete with convincing backstories, social media histories, and realistic-looking activity. The program was called Operation Earnest Voice, and it was designed to influence online discourse in foreign countries. Read that again. The U.S. military built a machine for mass-producing fake online people, and that was 2011. Imagine what that software looks like now. China's famous 50-cent army, a government-funded network of paid internet commenters estimated at anywhere from 500,000 to 2 million accounts, posts approximately 450 million fabricated social media comments per year, according to a Harvard study. Their goal is not to argue or persuade. It's to distract, to flood online spaces with cheerful, apolitical content so that genuine dissent gets buried under noise. Then there are content farms, the ad fraud economy. In 2022, the cybersecurity firm Human detected and dismantled a bot network called Parrot Traffic that was generating fake ad clicks across 1.7 million spoofed domains. The financial motive is simple. Bots can view ads, generate clicks, and earn ad revenue completely automatically at a scale no human operation could match. Those bot networks aren't just clicking ads. They're creating content. They're posting comments. They're generating the appearance of human engagement so that real humans will follow along. It's called astroturfing, manufacturing the impression of organic grassroots activity, and it is an industry. So when the dead internet theorists say the internet is flooded with fake human activity, they're not hallucinating. They're pointing at something that has federal contracts, Harvard studies, and billion-dollar fraud cases behind it. But here's the part most people stop before reaching. If governments and corporations have been doing this for years, what happens when they get access to generative AI? Before 2022, manufacturing fake online content at scale required humans. Lots of them. Paid commenters, content farms with actual writers, people clicking through websites manually. It was expensive, detectable, and limited. Then came the large language models. ChatGPT launched publicly in November 2022. Within months, researchers were documenting an explosion of AI-generated content across social media platforms, news aggregators, and comment sections. Not experiments, not tests. Deployed at scale for commercial and political purposes. Here's a study from Stanford and Georgetown, released in 2023. They found that AI-generated political content was already being used to influence public opinion on social media, and that human readers could not reliably distinguish it from human-written posts. Could not reliably distinguish it. Let's make this concrete. You are scrolling through a comment section right now, or you were earlier today. Someone has written, "I've been thinking about this issue for years, and I've noticed that." And then a paragraph that perfectly articulates a political position. You can't tell. Not reliably, not anymore. The economic argument for AI-generated content is overwhelming. Want to flood a news article's comment section with pro-corporate opinions? A human team would cost thousands of dollars per campaign. An AI pipeline costs cents per thousand posts. Want to make a new social media account look like it's been active for 3 years with a real personality and history? That's a few API calls. But the dead internet theory goes beyond AI astroturfing. It makes a far more radical claim. It says the algorithms themselves, the systems deciding what you see, are not passively serving human content. They're actively shaping what gets seen to such a radical degree that the illusion of a human internet is almost entirely manufactured. And here's where things get deeply uncomfortable. Let me describe something to you, and I want you to tell me if it sounds familiar. You discover a song. It feels like you found it, stumbled across it randomly, or a friend mentioned it. Within a week, it seems like that song is everywhere. You see posts about it, videos about it, comments praising it. It climbs the charts. It gets millions of streams. Question: did you discover that song? Or were you shown it? This is what researchers call manufactured virality. And there is now extensive documentation of music labels, film studios, tech companies, and political campaigns paying for synthetic engagement, fake streams, fake views, fake shares, to trigger real algorithmic promotion. The algorithms are designed to amplify what's already popular. So if you can fake popularity past a certain threshold, the algorithm takes over and creates real popularity. You've seeded a reality. Now apply that logic to everything. To the political opinions you see trending, to the products that seem to dominate, to the news stories that feel urgent and unavoidable, to the cultural conversations that shape what people think is normal. If you can manufacture the appearance of consensus, You can manufacture actual consensus. Because humans are social animals. We look to others to calibrate what to believe. We defer to perceived majority opinion. And if the majority opinion is a bot farm pointing at an AI-generated article promoted by a paid astroturfing campaign, well, you've just been told what to think by something that doesn't exist. There's a phrase in psychology, pluralistic ignorance, the phenomenon where a group of people each privately doubt a belief but publicly conform to it because they assume everyone else believes it sincerely. Nobody actually believes it. They're just responding to the illusion that everyone else does. The dead internet theory, at its most unsettling, suggests we are living in a civilization-scale instance of pluralistic ignorance, maintained not by shared delusion, but by infrastructure. And the most frightening part? Nobody needs to be in charge of it. Here's the version of the dead internet theory that doesn't require a shadowy cabal or secret government program. It just requires capitalism and algorithms to follow their own logic. Attention is the internet's currency. Platforms make money when you stay. Advertisers pay based on engagement. So every platform has a financial incentive to maximize the time you spend scrolling, watching, reacting. Now, what holds attention better? Measured human conversation or outrage? Nuanced commentary or something that confirms your existing beliefs perfectly? Slow, developing stories, or immediate, emotionally charged content? The algorithms learned the answers through billions of experiments on billions of people. They learned what to show you before you knew you wanted it. They optimized so hard for engagement that they effectively reshaped what kind of content gets made. If emotionally charged, shallow, confirmation-biased content performs better, then creators, whether human or automated, make more of it. If bot-inflated trends tell the algorithm that a certain type of post is popular, creators rush to replicate it. Human content starts imitating bot-optimized templates. At a certain point, you can't tell the difference anymore, not because humans are gone, but because humans and bots are producing functionally identical content, optimized by the same algorithm for the same metrics. The internet isn't dead because humans left it. It's dying because the humans who remained started behaving like bots. And somewhere in that loop, something was lost. The sense of genuine discovery, the feeling that you're talking to someone, the experience of stumbling into a strange corner of the web made by one weird person just because they wanted to. Remember that? The early internet? The one that felt alive? So where does this leave us? Let me be honest with you about what we actually know, versus what remains speculation. Bots represent 40 to 50% of internet traffic by some estimates. State-sponsored fake persona campaigns exist and are documented. AI-generated content is now indistinguishable from human content to most readers. Platforms optimize for engagement metrics, not human well-being or authenticity. Manufactured virality is a real, commercially available service. Ad fraud bot networks generate billions in fraudulent revenue. What remains speculative is whether this is coordinated by a central actor or emergent from decentralized incentives. The exact percentage of fake human-seeming content online. Whether the internet has crossed some threshold of inauthenticity that makes it fundamentally broken. The original dead internet theory, the most extreme version, suggests intentional, centralized control. A small group of entities consciously steering the internet's content and culture for population control purposes. I'm not going to tell you that's impossible. I'm going to tell you don't need to believe it to be disturbed. Because the decentralized version, where nobody planned it, where it emerged from the logic of thousands of independent actors all following the same profit incentives, might actually be worse. At least a conspiracy has someone you can point to. This version has no villain, no one to hold accountable. It's a system that produced this outcome because this outcome was what the system was designed, inadvertently but perfectly, to produce. You cannot sue an algorithm. You cannot vote out a bot network. You cannot negotiate with an ad fraud economy. What do you do with that? I want to end by asking you to do something. The next time you're online, not right now but later, I want you to look at a post, a comment, a trending topic, and genuinely ask, is this real? Not just, is this true, but is there a real person behind this? Is this content serving me, or am I serving it? That's not paranoia. That's literacy. Digital literacy in an age when the distinction between human and automated content has essentially collapsed. Here's what I believe. The internet isn't entirely dead. Real people are still out here, still making things, still connecting. But the signal-to-noise ratio has changed so dramatically that finding authentic human interaction now requires effort, something the early internet never demanded. Maybe that's the thing worth protecting. Not the internet as a platform, but the experience of actually encountering another mind. Dead internet theory is a conspiracy theory that might be mostly wrong, but the things it's pointing at, the bots, the astroturfing, the algorithmic reality shaping, the economic incentives that reward inauthenticity, those are real. And whether or not the internet is dead, something in how we experience it has fundamentally changed. The question is, what are we going to do about it? If this gave you something to think about, or something to be unsettled by, share it with someone who spends a lot of time online. Not because the algorithm needs the engagement, because they deserve to ask the same questions you're asking now. I'll see you in the next one, if I'm actually here.